Welcome back, my dear students. Everything is progressing well. We are making our little student page, and I think we need to do a little bit of cleanup. Let's just close this down for a second. In fact, let's maximize this. So we have this dashboard here, and I think the best thing to do is uh, to not get rid of these things. And in fact, maybe we even just keep the find student one if you just want to do a quick student search. Maybe we even put that one into kiosk mode. But for this one, I think we want to not go to this single page one. I think we want to go to the main, what do we call it, students.php page. So if we come here to the dashboard, which is index.8.php, we can come here and say, on this one here where it's saying new student.php, we can just say students.php, and maybe we want to change this to manage. So make sure that's saved. If I refresh the page, we have manage students, and that takes us to our new one. And I guess with the dashboard, we can go ahead and get rid of this menu stuff. So if we come up here to the dashboard and we go to navigation, now this is totally up to you if you want to do this. We'll sort them by reverse order, and we can, I think if we delete this one, they're all the ones under it will go away. So if we delete that, yeah, so we're good there. So now if we came back here, we got rid of that menu, and now and it's totally up to you. If you want to get rid of this one altogether, you can. If you want to keep it, that's fine. It's totally your call. So I'm not going to delete the new student page. We'll leave it there. So if you want to use it to access the code, that's cool. So I think the next thing we want to do is to be able to add money. And so we're going to try to do this one relatively quickly. So let's say if we search for Hoover, and then we have this column over here. And so let's go to, we're in students.php. So let's go to students.php. I'm going to make it full screen. We have this table, and right now we just have a blank thing here, so we can copy. We'll just add one more. And I like to keep these even. You don't really have to put these two headings up here, but if we decide to do any searching or sorting, you'll see where that comes back to help us to have all of those headings there. So right here we have this example where we are going there and we're going to a page called student.php, and we are making that view page. So we're just going to copy this, and we're going to come here and we're going to say student add funds, or yeah, that works. And then we're going to just put add funds. So now what that'll do, if I snap this to the right, I probably should just minimize it. Let's minimize it, and we search for Hoover. Then we have this new thing called add funds. It's going to take us to a page that isn't there. So you know the drill. You come up here and you go to users and blank pages, duplicate, come back here, student add funds. Okay, and then so we have that. We're going to try to visit that page now, and it's going to take us in here. And so we want to allow that for the admin and the manager. And we're going to say add funds to student account and update. And now we're back to our blank page. So we're going to try to make things go a little quicker. We're going to copy some of this code. So we already have this one student. Let's take a look here. We already have student.php where we are grabbing that information. So student.php, and we have, where is it? Oh, I'm in students. Can't read. Student.php. So we have this whole thing here. We'll just grab the whole PHP tags and everything, where we are grabbing that ID from the address bar, and we're searching to see if the student exists and all that kind of stuff. So great, we're going to copy that, and we're going to take it over here, and then we're going to paste it, and then we'll do the same thing we did last time, where we're going to come in here and we're going to do PHP dump student. So again, there's nothing wrong with, now we could make that an include or something so we're not repeating ourselves, but there's a chance that we'll want to make some changes to that. So we'll leave it like that. So if I come over here and refresh the page, you'll see I'm getting my information, Dan, Hoover, all that kind of stuff, my balance. Now really the only thing I care about is my ID and balance, but we could make it a little bit prettier. So what we want to do here is we want to make it really clear which page you're on. So let's do an H1, and then we're going to do align equals center, and then we're going to say add funds to, and what we'll say, we'll come in here and we will grab this information. See, we already have all the information about the student. So what we can do is PHP echo student fname, and then same exact thing. We'll just copy this again. We'll copy this right here, and then we'll do lname. So basically what we're going to do is right at the top of the page, we are going to tell it that we're going to tell everybody that, hey, we're adding funds to this person. So this way there's no ambiguity about who you're adding the funds to. So now what we'll do is we'll come down here, we're going to copy that whole line, and we're going to hit enter, and we're going to change these from H1s to H3s. And we're going to say current balance, and then we're going to put the $sign, and we're going to say student balance. And the reason why we're saying balance is because that, if I drag this in here, that is the column name. So we used fname, we used lname, and now we're using balance. So drag that out of the way and remove the last name. You thought I was going to leave it. I know you thought I was going to leave it. You're like, Dan is an absent-minded guy and he's going to forget to get that out of the way. So, but I didn't. I proved you wrong. So if I come in here and I refresh the page now, we have add funds to Dan Hoover, current balance $12.50. That looks fantastic. So we're going to do a manual form here. We're going to make our own form. And so let's put it inside of a set of paragraph tags just to keep it centered. Align equals center. And what we're going to do is we are going to just type in the word form and hit tab. Now, this is important. So we want to make sure that we stay, let's think about this. We want to make sure that we stay. So we have two choices. I guess there's not really a whole lot to validate, because if we made it to this point, then basically we know the student exists. So you could add, you're just adding money to the account. Like you're going to punch in an amount like $20 and you're going to add it to the account. So there's really very little chance that we're going to submit this form and we're going to get redirected to this page. So we're going to plan on, when the page is done, we're going to send them back to students.php and maybe even saying how much has been added. So we can go ahead and we can make this action nothing. And then what we want to do is we want to do two inputs. Let's do that input group. I like them where they're bunched together. So we're going to do div class equals input group. Okay, so this is going to group these next two inputs together. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to do input, and we're going to do type as number, and we are going to put a name of, let's call it new, and we're not going to put a value in there, but what we are going to do is we're going to put autofocus equals on, and then we're going to do step equals 0.01, and this means that when we hit those up and down arrows on the right, it's going to go up and down by a penny. And then we want to put min equals 0.01, so that the smallest amount of money that we can put on somebody's account is 1 penny. You can't put negative money, you can't put no money. So I think that works. And then we'll do one more input, and we're going to say it's a type of submit, because it's going to be our submit button, and we're going to give it a name of submit, and we're going to give it a value of add funds. Add funds, that works. And so now we're also going to give it a class of button, and then it's your choice here. I'm going to do button primary. So if I come back here and look at the page again, I have a form, and I knew that. I knew that that had to be inside the form tag. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come here, and this paragraph center needs to be inside of here. It needs to be inside of the form, or it just doesn't respect the fact that you put it inside of a paragraph. So we're going to save that, and we're going to refresh the page. And what did I do? I'll tell you what, to make it easy, instead of spending a lot of time on figuring this out, if I drag the code back over here, I can probably get rid of this input group thing here, because I'm not using a class of form control. So if I come in here and save this, I think that's going to pop it in the center anyway. Yeah, so that works. We may decide to put a break in there just to give it a little bit of space. So what we want to do now is we have this thing, it's all in the center, and you can design something pretty on your own. But what we're going to do is we want to basically go in there and add this money to the balance. So if you remember, last time we messed with funds, we did a few checks. And if I remember correctly, we did that in the, what was it? It was the snack shop. So if we come here to the snack shop, you can see that if not empty, post, and we'll just grab this whole amount here. What we did is we came in here and said, we're going to paste this down here. If not empty, post. We're going to make sure to close this tag so that these things match up right here. And let's say, let's change this name down here to amount, since we already have it. Basically what we're doing is we're calling the number that we're posting an amount. And so we're going to say amount equals input get amount. And then we are going to format that number to make sure it's in 2 decimal places. And then what we want to do is, and we're just going to use the same variable, we want to say amount equals amount plus whatever balance they had. So if we come in here and we go to student and balance, then that will be the new amount that we're going to add to the database. And so actually let's do it this way. Let's call that something. Let's say new amount equals amount plus. This way we'll have both those variables available to us. So we'll have the old amount and the new amount. Now the thing we have to worry about is, in the event that this was let's say 20 cents and 20 cents, then this would show up as, you know, $12.4. So what we want to do is we want to do that same thing we did here, except we want to do it with new amount. And so we want to format that to make sure that the new amount is 2 decimal places. And so now what we want to do is we want to log the fact that we did this. And so we're going to go logger, and then we're going to record the user that did it, ID. And then let's say we're going to give it its own topic called add money. And then we're going to say that added, and we're going to say amount to balance new bow, and then I'll tell you, let's say new bow, and we'll say new amount. Now we're not going to worry about $signs in this. It's just a log, so it doesn't really matter. So basically what we're doing is we're recording the fact that we submitted this money, and now what we need to do is we need to do an update statement. So we're going to say DB, go to the database, update the table students, and the row that you want to update is the ID. That's the thing that we've been tracking this whole time. So the row you want to update is the ID. And then because we're only updating one field, instead of doing that thing where we do fields equals array and spell it all out, we're going to say balance, and then we're going to put our arrow or hash rocket, and we're going to say new amount. So if all goes right, I should be able to come in here and add some money to this account. We'll refresh the page. So we had a balance of $12.50. So if I come in here and put 2.50 and then add the funds, now we're not redirecting anywhere. So this is Dan Hoover. We'll come back here and and we're going to say Hoover. Let's see, refresh. So if I go now, Dan, I think it's this one. Now I thought this thing showed us the amount, so we'll have to figure out what that is. But let's look in the database real quick in this video and just figure out, did it update my balance to $15? So it did. My balance is now $15. It was $12.50. So we'll figure out that other part in the next video.